Hey there folks, mattdoody here with another video on the updated build for my NX Escort. Okay, let's get cracking straight down to it. Okay, a few changes have been made since the last video. You can see now I'm only running one of the console set from the counter command, and I'm returned back to using the biomolecular heavy phaser turret. Viewers of the last video would know that I was using before the hydrodynamics compensator to counteract the effects of the biomolecular incubation for those ships that were running reconstructive radiation. Now, did a bit of working out on this. The heal you get from reconstructive radiation is minuscule compared to the amount of damage you will be able to do still by running this this two-piece set. Okay, weapon changes. I'm still running the two anti-proton dual heavy cannons here with the Terran Task Force Reputation dual heavy cannon and the Quantum Phase dual heavy cannon, along with the Quantum Phase converter from for the two-piece set from the mission. And if you remember, this gives a plus 15% accuracy rating and doubles the potency of quantum phase weapon shield drain, so that boosts the shield drain from my quantum phase cannon. I've switched out the pulse phaser dual heavy cannon for the Herald anti-proton. I'll tell you why. The pulse phaser seems to be bugged at the moment. The procs on it are that you will get plus 10 damage resistance to yourself, or 2.5% chance to get that, and 2.5% chance to decrease your foe's damage resistance by 10. Now, the procs on this are switched around at the moment, and even though procs are very low, there's a very low chance that they are going to take effect. I'm not going to run that risk in a PvP situation by reducing my own damage resistance and potentially increasing the damage resistance of my foe. So I've gone back to the Herald anti-proton dual heavy cannon. Now the deflector's changed up. I was previously using the competitive reputation, sorry about that, a competitive reputation deflector. Now I've got my hands on the new Colony World deflector here, and as you see at the bottom, it gives plus 15 crit severity based on your hull percentage and plus 4% crit chance based on your hull percentage. Basically, the closer you are to 100% health, the higher crit percentage level bonus you get from this. So if we take a look down, you can see I have 25.7% crit chance and 140% crit severity. Obviously this will get a little bit higher if I hit my attack pattern alpha. That goes to 30.6 chance and 189.8 crit severity. You can't complain at that. That's a fantastic deflector to use for PvE, and there are ones which would suit better for PvE, but this is a PvP build, and the one with cold crit, drain x2 and EPS is the one that I've chosen. So I'm still using the competitive 3-piece, but in this case I'm using the warp core. It's not as efficient as the fleet variants, but I've only got 210% power transfer rate. But the escort here is pretty quick, and you only really fire in short bursts, and so your power levels do have a chance to regenerate still pretty quickly, and you're not using as much power when firing in 2 to 3 second bursts on your target. I'm using the Martok 2-piece set bonus here that we get from Brushfire. So I'm using the omnidirectional beam along with the console, which gives a little bit of flight turn rate, a little bit of max hull and shields, and a bit of engine power setting. I'm using this for pretty much one reason and one reason alone, and that's the 2-piece set bonus. Now, as you can see, you get 2.5% crit chance from this and plus 15 accuracy rating. Now mix that in with a few traits and the quantum phase 2-piece, we get 107% accuracy unbuffed. Speaking of traits, again another couple of changes. I'm running superior accurate here for plus 15 accuracy rating, which again helps buff up that accuracy, so you'll be able to hit faster, more maneuverable targets with high defense a lot more often. Still using superior cannon training, 7.5% bonus cannon weapon damage. Now this 7.5% may not seem a lot, but I mean, if we take a look at the consoles back here again, the counter command multi-conduit energy relay along with the heavy biomolecular, in this case phaser turret, there is a disruptor variant. The 2-piece set bonus gives a 7.5% Cat 2 damage boost to phaser and disruptor weapon damage. So basically you get the same from this trait as you would for a pretty essential 2-piece set bonus in any phaser, disruptor or rainbow build. Now for team play, fleet coordinator's a very good trait to use. This build is that I'm showing you now is my everyday solo 1v1 build, but it does work in team play pretty effectively as well. And this will give you 2% bonus damage, again category 2 damage per team member, including yourself, and this gives up to 10% category 2 damage. Category 2 damage is extremely important if you want to take down those heavy hulled, high damage resistance players. Superior elusive, again it's there to basically counteract those who are running the superior accurate traits. Plus 15 accuracy rating, and this one gives you plus 15 defense rating, so that will counteract any opponent you are facing who's using that trait. Now I've dropped a few traits. I was in the past running galvanized munitions. I was just testing it out. It's a good trait, but I don't think it keeps your shields high enough for long enough. It only affects your front shields to really justify its use. So let me try and find it down here. There we go. Receive 10% of your outgoing cannon turret damage as shield heal to your front facing shields. Triggers once per second. As I said a minute ago, if you're only dealing damage in a 2 to 3 second burst on your opponent, that's not really going to do much good. It's been tested, I've tried it out. There are other things that will boost your shield health, and there are other more efficient traits that you can use instead of this. I'm still using point blank shot. The closer you are to the foe, the higher damage bonus you get against them. Now I've been using Good Day to Die on and off for quite a while now, probably since release. You get a 50% category 2 damage bonus if you check a look down here when activating Go Down Fighting. Now this trait allows you to activate go down fighting at any hull length and will treat your ship as though it was at 50% hull integrity. Now 50% bonus all damage, which increases with hull loss, and you get a little bit of damage resistance as well, but I mean 50%, that's bonus all damage. That's again, that is category 2 damage you get from go down fighting. That's more than you would get from your dynamic power redistributor module, which only gives you a 40% boost. I'm also running alongside this last ditch effort. You get a bonus damage resistance increase while go down fighting is active. So let's take a look at the stats and see exactly what this does. So you see my damage resistance here, pretty low on buffed, 34% with 45.1 kinetic, 44.5 physical. Let me see if I activate go down fighting. That drops straight up to 52.4. That's about a 60-70% increase in damage resistance, and you get that once every 45 seconds. So you're going to get 30 seconds downtime on that. Let's see, traits are unchanged. Emergency weapon cycle, increased firing cycle haste when activating emergency powder weapons, and minus 50% weapon power cost for 30 seconds. That doesn't need explaining. That's a very useful trait to have if you're running emergency powder weapons on your build. Superior pedal to the metal. For this build again, it works. If you had an Agents of Yesterday character a year back and you were able to if you pick this up on release, should I say, within that 6 weeks period, you'd be able to get superior versions of the specialization traits. So usually the improved superior pedal to the metal will give you 20% bonus damage when at full throttle. This will give you 30% when that's fully charged up. Again, that's just a little bit less than the DPRM console, which people on the Federation side at least are paying roughly about 400 million EC for. Another change really to the space reputation traits. I've thrown on automated proto-matter conduits. When critically hit, gain shield regeneration for 15 seconds and 100% hull regeneration again for 15 seconds. Now this will help your shields stay up a little bit more, and it'll also help keep your hull regeneration high, to keep your hull percentage higher, which will again benefit this shiny new deflector. The higher level hull percentage you can keep your ship, the better it will be for your damage. Stations are again pretty much untouched. I'm still running Cannon Rapid Fire 3 with attack pattern Omega 1. Tactical Team 2, because Tactical Team is quite important for those cleanses, and it'll rebalance your shields. And Beam Fire at Will to help give a damage boost to my rapid fire by using the NX trait, the preferential targeting trait. I'm running Pilot Team 1 here again. A little bit of speed and turn rate buff, immunity to movement debuffs for a few seconds. It should get you out of some pretty hairy situations, especially when you're running this alongside attack pattern Omega, which again give you immunity to movement debuffs, a little bit of damage distance, flight speed and turn rate, alongside a nice damage bonus increase. And again, polarized hull, more damage resistance, and immunity to tractor beams and teleport. and what I've done here, I've dropped hold together 2, so hold together 1 for attack pattern lambda 2 for the bonus accuracy and the accuracy debuff to your opponent. Now this is still a double ox to bat build. I don't really see any point in changing to an ox to damp build. Ox to bat is extremely efficient if you're not running high auxiliary power ships. You don't have to worry about the cooldowns of your abilities. Everything's there on global cooldown all the time. Now with the duty officers we see here, I'm running 3 technicians. One of them you get from the Ferengi hologram, the Hamlet play duty officer missions, which you pick up from the Infinity Lockbox. Recharge time on all bridge officers reduced when auxiliary to emergency battery is used. Bridge officer power recharge is reduced by 10% after activating auxiliary power to emergency battery. Now I'm running 3 of these simply because that's the most you can slot, and that will put all of your abilities here on global cooldown. So let's just activate Omega 1, Rapid Fire 3, then Ox to bat. Cannon Rapid Fire goes immediately down to its global cooldown, which was 15 seconds. Ox to bat will also put the duplicate on 10-second cooldown. And you see now the little line scrolling down here for my attack pattern Omega. That indicates that is on global cooldown, and here we go. That's probably about 25 seconds right there, 30 seconds for your attack pattern Omega. So 3 technicians with Ox to bat is pretty handy. Emergency con hologram, again when activating emergency power to engines, it resets the cooldown for your evasive maneuvers. So let's take a look. Now if you activate power to engines while your evasive maneuvers is up, this doff will not take effect. Your evasive maneuvers has to be on cooldown as it is now. I'll hit power to engines, and that just comes straight back and available again. And then our cool warfare specialists, when activating engineering abilities, there are attack and science variants of this. You get a 20% chance for 10% of your next 10 sources of outgoing damage applied back as hull healing. Now it's a pretty low hull heal, it never passes very high, but I have found in some cases that it does help, especially if you're running the miracle work, a primary trait as I am. If one of these sources of damage, you know, it comes back and it becomes a heal, and it crits, you're going to have, you know, your hull bounce back up to 100% pretty much if you do enough damage, and again that will benefit the shiny new deflector, which I am totally in love with. And specializations, finally. Okay, let's take a look. So I'm running pilot secondary now, simply because with the attack pattern expertise you get some temporary hit points for 15 seconds. You get, you know, quite a little bit of defense. Magic carpet ride, when you come out of rock and roll you get a better turn rate. Rock and roll is not as reliable as it used to be. It's been quite glitchy with the introduction of the immunity lockout, but if you want to get out of a situation pretty quick, you hit that and that will pretty much thrust you away with its 100% flight speed buff. I'm running pilot primarily really because of the 40% turn rate, which we still get for its secondary use. Now, Miracle Worker is my primary spec tree. Now, there are some serious advantages to this. I'll start at the bottom. Give her all she's got. That's the 5-minute clicky, as you see down here. So this is a team-wide buff. This will give you damage resistance, incoming hull healing, and maximum hit points for 30 seconds to yourself and your team. Very, very useful. Even in PvE, I use this. I see a teammate going down, hit that, and in conjunction with a few of their own survivable abilities, yeah, they shouldn't die. Okay, again, overestimation. When activating a heal, 10% of your outgoing healing applied to target as temporary hit points. Now, this is yourself or an ally. This is not for your enemy. So if you hit a hull heal on yourself, say engineering team, you get some temporary hit points. Tough little ship. Now, this is one of the main reasons why I'm using Miracle Worker as a primary. You get plus 70 damage resistance versus critical hits. So if somebody's coming along trying to vape you, and a lot of those hits are going to be crits, you get a huge damage resistance bonus versus that attack. And again, no risk, no reward. When affected by a critical hit or critical heal, you get incoming hull healing for 10 seconds, and again 10% cat 2 bonus damage. This can stack 3 times. So if you've got something like a heal over time and 3 of those heals crit, or if you are hit 3 times by a critical hit, you get the cat 2 damage bonus increase. Fix them up. Again, activated any heal will increase the damage resistance rating of the healed ally or yourself. Again, plus 30 all damage resistance. This gives a huge damage resistance if you use this as a primary. Again, continuity from the temporal reputation, which a lot of people still use from what I've seen. If you're not in a science build, you're running a full spec tree that's not going to benefit you in any other way other than you're using that because you expect to die. Now, this will negate the damage you receive more efficiently than that will. So for those of you using continuity in PvE, PvP, take a look at Miracle Worker, give it a try and see how you like it. Automated leak detection. Now, this will remove all subsystem power drains and immune to drains for 5 seconds. Again, there's a lot of drain builds out there in PvE, in PvP. It gives you a little bit of resistance to them. And seal the deck when activated, when affected by a damage over time effect. It'll remove the dots from yourself. Things like plasma burn if somebody's using plasma weapons, or some forms of radiation damage, things like that. Embolden, again, when activating a hull heal, you get extra crit chance. You can never really get too much crit chance as long as it doesn't affect your survivability or other sources of damage or resistance. And reflexive emitters, when affected by shield drain, you get shield regeneration applied once per each facing. Only 2,000 there. It's a pretty meh ability there, but it's a passive and it's a bonus, and running alongside the main sources of damage and damage resistance, I don't think we can really knock that one too much. Again, Miracle Worker is a fantastic trait for primary, and the passive bonus we get from this, when your tree is fully maxed out, you get 50% of max hull regenerated per minute, and 50% of so that's on ground, 50% of hit points regenerated per minute. So again, it's pretty good if you want to tank on the ground as well. So that's a quick rundown on the updated NX build. Any questions, feel free to ask. Hey guys, SRS and the organised PvP mentors are putting together a great new opportunity for want-to-be PvPers. The problems many face in PvP in Stowe is that new players are often facing already established PvPers with a lot more experience. And this can put a lot of people off due to the massive difference in gear knowledge between players. What we offer is a training camp to those with little to no experience in this side of Stowe. Here's a video of two members who have already taken part in the SRS Fleet's PvP training program, both at different levels of experience, but were willing to learn and improve their skills. We were challenged to a 7v3 PvP match, and we won 50 kills to 1 death. It was a proud moment watching two trainees who I've helped guide in the PvP process to obtain such a victory against such overwhelming odds.